Welcome. We are so glad to have you here with us today. We are going to have a really great show with two moms and a doctor to talk about their journey with their special children. Our conversation today is not about statistics and probabilities. We want to feel the heart and touch the souls of these moms and their families, the stories that are so seldom told. So this morning we want to talk with Erin Mersino. She is an attorney in the state of Michigan who works. Her title is actually Chief of the Supreme Court and Appellate Practice at the Great Lakes Justice Center. And she works with cases before the Supreme Court about constitutionality that concerns our religious freedom and our freedom of speech. She has been presented on many TV shows and has done all kinds of writing that has appeared in USA Today and all kinds of publications I'm sure we're familiar with. But today we want to talk about her family a little more. And so we'd love to talk with Erin. She is a mom and she had 4 little boys. And we're just so glad to have you with us, Erin. And can you kind of take us on the next step of your journey after you and your husband were married and you had these 4 little boys? Then you went on to the next adventure.
Yes, Nancy, it's so wonderful to be with you. Thank you so much. So yes, working tirelessly at my job and at home. And we had 4 boys and then found out we were expecting another little baby. And I went into the first ultrasound appointment, the 12-week appointment, and I could tell during the ultrasound that the ultrasound technician seemed concerned about some things going on with the baby. And she would go over certain parts of the baby several times, and she seemed kind of closed off from me a little bit and just seemed concerned. And so I had, the intuition that something might be off. So after the ultrasound, then I was called into the office with the doctor, and she was reviewing the results. And she said there are a number of abnormalities with the baby, and went through all of the different things that were extremely concerning to her. And she thought that the baby might not make it, and that the ultrasound was highly indicative of some sort of chromosomal abnormality. And she thought it might be trisomy 18 or trisomy 21, known as Down syndrome. So then my doctor, she was one of my sister's friends, and I could just see that she was taking the news very heavily. And I felt badly for her having to, give me the news. So I went home and kind of digested the news and prayed, and just felt that the Lord was asking me to reach out for help from my friends. And I'd had such a wonderful blessing of serving on a school board with Gianni, who you will hear from in this program. She's just a wonderful, beautiful spirit and heart. And so I reached out just as a friend, just asking, could you pray for this baby? We don't know what's wrong. It seems like the baby might not make it. Just please, we need your prayers, and I would love for your prayers. So I send out this email just asking, please pray. And amazingly enough, Gianni responds and says, I'll be your doctor. I'll help you through this. And that was one of the very first miracles in a series of miracles that God has lined up in the amazing journey of having our 5th son, Jacob.
Wow. Wasn't that about the last thing you expected, to send out an email and a former school board colleague?
Yes.
Back with that's not a problem. I'm here for you.
Yes. And immediately she called, and she was moving her schedule, making sure that we could get in. And it was such a huge blessing.
Wow. So we are so excited today that we can also have Dr. Gianni Cazan with us. And she is just a wonderful person that has had amazing mission in her life. She did 4 years of medical school, then 4 years studying as an OBGYN, and then she went into 3 more years of doing a high risk pregnancy fellowship. So that was a lot of education and passion in order to help moms at exactly the stage that you found yourself in, Erin. And so we hope to bring on Dr. Kazan and we can meet her. Thank you so much for being with us today, Gianni. We just really appreciate you joining
Thank you
us.
for having me. I'm having a little technical.
Okay, well, you'll come and go perhaps, but we'll just try to do our best here with the world of technical. But you got an email from Erin, kind of out of the blue. You had served together on a school board. And what were your thoughts as you read that email?
I remember thinking, I can help her. I can help guide her through whatever she's going through, because this is what I do every day. And I have patients that come in a panic in the sense that if you don't know what you're dealing with, your mind goes into so many directions and not necessarily good directions. And I knew, and all I asked is just allow me to take a look, allow me to give my input. Not that I'm great, but it's just a different perspective. And it may be the one that they needed to hear, because, I tell you the facts and I tell you the truth, but I will give you a slightly different perspective based on my experience. And I was so thankful that she allowed me to take care of their family.
No, I'm grateful, and you are great. You are absolutely great.
We are really appreciative of your willingness to take on such a difficult field that doesn't have little tight answers, and it doesn't always end. You really don't know what you're going through in each situation. Every child is different, every pregnancy is different, every family is different. And so you've really stepped up and felt called into an arena that few dare to enter. And then you do it with such a heart and such kindness and perspective that helps people. When you first meet with patients, Dr. Kazan, what kind of shape are they in when they come to you?
They tend to be concerned, and they hear things that I don't think their doctors necessarily said. But if you're told your baby has a high risk of having this condition or that condition, most of the times they will hear your baby has that condition. Be it, we offer so many blood tests for screening for Down syndrome and Edwards syndrome and a variety of things. And when that blood test comes back saying you're high risk for having a child with Down syndrome, a lot of parents just hear your child has Down syndrome and they're just struck. And then they have to come in, and then I have to kind of reassure them, this is all we get out of the blood test. It's not telling you yes or no. It's just a way to place the, kind of a categorization. Let's look further. And then I try to kind of bring them down off that ledge, because the anxiety is high. And then what am I going to do? And what's going to happen? And it's just so many questions. But the first thing is to just kind of like, it's okay. Let's take a look a little further. And I have to say, when I saw it,
It looks like it froze a little bit.
Go ahead, Erin.
I just want to say, Gianni's extremely humble. So the first time we met and she did the first ultrasound, the gentleness and kindness that she provided to my husband and I was just amazing. The way that she described what she was seeing was with such love that it just made us, even though the prognosis after the first ultrasound was not the best, she did it with just such love and kindness and gentleness that we just had hope and peace.
Yeah. Whereas at the ultrasound itself, you could sense fear and reservation.
Yes.
And when you feel a technician pulling away from you emotionally, there's something you have to be prepared for. That wasn't the same as the other 4 pregnancies. There wasn't the embracing, the celebrating, and all of that. And as a mom, you can't help but feel that when you're there. And then to meet Dr. Cazan and sense those same emotions coming back that you felt in affirming the first 4 pregnancies, I'm sure that that filled your heart in a way you can't quantify.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So Dr. Kazan, we kind of lost you for a second there, but you were going to tell us about your first impressions as you met with Erin and her husband.
Yes. I tend to describe what I see, and I call it a play-by-play, because I think once you have the information and I just show you, just let me show you what I see, and then I can try to describe what are we dealing with, what could be dealing with. Everybody tends to understand it more, and I don't just blurt out a diagnosis, for example. And their baby was just a miracle, because what we saw in the first ultrasound and what we saw in the next ultrasound was truly miraculous. The healing that occurred spontaneously in there was, I've only seen that a few times in my 20 years. Let me put it that way. Truly a miracle. That baby was meant to be. And it's just amazing, amazing. And did so well the rest of the time.
That is so beautiful. It's really a wonderful thing when you can give them a miraculous journey and set that perspective at the beginning of their time with their new baby, and instead of the opposite. That is such a mind and heart changer for the family in welcoming their newest little addition.
Yeah.
I remember after the first ultrasound, Gianni was saying, okay, so these are the challenges. And next time, if, when we do the ultrasound, the baby hasn't made it, then, it's a possibility. But the way that she said it was just with so much love. And so we left and we knew we had the information that there were challenges, but we really felt at the same time that somebody was rooting for him, and that it wasn't just this, these are the abnormalities and this is what's wrong. It was just like a breath of just love and hope. And we really just felt God working through Gianni, helping us cope with, all of this information that we were receiving.
Yeah, that is priceless in an interaction. There's so much whenever you're dealing with a pregnancy and a future of a family, you cannot take the emotion out of it. You cannot take the heart and soul out of everyone that's in the room. And being honest with each other, that is a huge thing. And when you frame things in an honest but loving way, it is exactly as Erin says, you give hope as well as truth. And that is so important. I'm sure, Doctor, you have seen patients come in just paralyzed with fear.
Yes.
And unable to think, really, to even absorb different information just because they've been so flattened with fear.
Yeah, I lose you.
I think we might have lost her there. Okay. We'll come back to that. Did you hear my question, Doctor? About being flattened with fear? I think we could probably hear you now. Can you tell us about being flattened with fear, Doctor? Maybe not. Well, then I will go back to the conversation that I had with the doctor, and she said that that is often one of the main challenges, that people have heard things and worry about things and Google things, and by that time they're just overwhelmed with fear, and they can't think, and so she tries to help them realize that this did not happen by accident, that you have been chosen for this special baby, and you don't really know why yet, but you do know
Yeah.
that there is a plan behind all of this.
Mhm.
And I think that really helps people um, stop the fear and start a positive journey. Did you sense that, Erin?
Oh, absolutely. After the first couple of ultrasounds, it came time for counseling. So we sat down with Gianni, and she went through all of the statistical probabilities of, having trisomy 18 or having trisomy 21 Down syndrome. And then we submitted for the genetic testing to see, what are we dealing with? Because at that time, Gianni had also confirmed that she, in her experience, believed that there was going to be a chromosomal abnormality based on the different factors that she saw as well, and the different challenges the baby had been through at that point. So when she got the results to the genetic counseling, she called right away, and her voice sounded, just hopeful and filled with joy. And I'll never forget, she said, "Congratulations, your son has Down syndrome." And I'm going to start crying because it's just so filled with love. And it's so different than, how other doctors will look at this. They'll look at it as a problem, but she looks at it through a realistic lens, that there is so much joy and so much value in every life, no matter, what the challenge is. And she never looked down on our child as having an abnormality or something wrong. She looked at this child as just a beautiful child. And so it just meant the world to us to hear, "Congratulations, your son has Down syndrome," in that way. Most doctors say, the test came back positive or negative, or just look at it as a scientific diagnosis. But she told us everything with such love. And so it just made the whole experience just really beautiful and very happy.
That is really precious. And you knew this wasn't someone who just showed up on the scene and says this in her first experience. She
Yes.
has seen all kinds of high risk pregnancies.
Yes.
She, out of her expertise and background, tells you, "Congratulations, your child has Down syndrome."
Yes.
So it has real stature to it. It's her affirmation in her level of experience that that touches you so deeply. Besides the faith involved in all of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Gianni, can we hear you? Can you talk? No? Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm having technical issues, but the biggest thing is to just
Oh, it's so
No.
every time she's going to say something really profound, she leaves.
I know.
Oh, dear. I'm glad I talked to her before because it is so beautiful what she told me about how she shares with families that God does not make mistakes, that your child is specifically designed for, and you have been chosen as this child's parents to help him or her and navigate life. And that is so precious. And no matter what the situation, she has affirmed the value of life in her patients and their future children's lives, whatever the prognosis. Did you want to talk to that a little bit, Dr. Cazan? Can we get you on for that or not?
Oh,
Not sure. It's working.
oh no.
She has a high-risk technological connection today. Good thing she's good at handling high-risk situations. And she told me that she wants to communicate to the parents that you're going to win this battle.
Yes.
With help, right?
That's very much what we felt too. I kept being drawn to Judges 6:12 because being a parent and being a working mom and having 4 rambunctious boys at home,
Yeah.
I very much felt like, oh, wow, am I going to be able to take on this new challenge of having a son with special needs? And just kept being drawn to God is with you, you mighty warrior. So it's actually, when we received the diagnosis, there is a period of trying to just process the information and think, what is this going to look like? What will this look like for our family dynamic? How are we going to be able to balance this many things? And through just this huge blessing of, I never thought in knowing Gianni and serving on the school board with her that I would be Gianni's patient, because I knew that her specialty was very specific with only high risk patients. I didn't anticipate that I would be one of the high risk patients.
No.
We really need her.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you were just friends serving your community together, correct? Yeah.
Yes, but we really did need her.
Yeah, I know. And at such perfect time. And, you reached out for help too. And most people would say, oh, she's an accomplished attorney, 4 children of their own, and they just know what they're doing. And both of you are very professionally successful and all of that. So why would you ever need help? And so, for you to reach out to a broad spectrum of friends like that, and even acquaintances, is very powerful. And that's where your answers started coming, right, Erin?
Yes, I think we always need help, and I think that discouragement is a huge thing for everyone to overcome. And one of the most huge treasures for overcoming discouragement is the body of Christ through the Holy Bible, through our beautiful friends that just share his love with us. And those, I think, are really the 2 things that can fight discouragement better than anything.
Yeah.
And they definitely serve through this process.
Yeah. Dr. Cazan, have you seen faith helping your patients in this journey that can otherwise kind of cripple people with fear?
Please ask the beginning part, the first part of that question. I had.
Have you seen faith? Erin was just talking to us about how faith helped her in praying and giving it to God, and then reaching out in an email. And because she reached out for help, you responded, and each time she reached out for help, people helped, and that helped them stay focused on their journey and celebratory about what they were experiencing. And I'm wondering if you have seen that in other people with their high risk situations.
Very much so. And I think the biggest hurdle is to just get them off that ledge of being frozen. And once I can bring them down a little bit and just remind them that you were chosen for this special baby, what an honor that is. And then just just kind of try to bring them down to recenter them, then they start being able to focus on their base, like, where's my grounding, what has led me to be able to get through any obstacle so far, and why can't I do that again? But you can. But you just got such bad news. You were hoping to land in Italy, and you learned Italian this whole time, and you're so prepared for that perfect vacation to Italy, but you landed in China, and you're not ready for that. It's just, I need to, all right, now I've got to learn a new language. So I'm just thankful when my patients allow me to remind them this, because they're listening. They're allowing to hear what I say, because sometimes they can't. They just freeze, and it's and sometimes I just can't get through, and it's so sad.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine how hard that is. And I asked you, has anyone come back to you after they had a high risk pregnancy and they were on the edge of wondering what to do and whether they should terminate or go full term, or what is full term, or and what could that possibly look like? And could you give us a little bit of that story for everyone?
Yes, I've had patients come back, who chose to terminate, and then they still came back for their next pregnancy, because again, the next pregnancy, the anxiety level is still so high, and it's like the first half of the pregnancy, you're just trying to reassure it's okay, and just help them walk through that hard path until they can enjoy the rest of their pregnancy again. And that's my goal. My goal is, no matter what happens in there, I want the mom to be able to enjoy, and dad to be able to enjoy this pregnancy, because it's their baby. And if I can help you in any way, that's what I want to do. But I learned the most from patients who carried pregnancies on, that even had the babies had a lethal abnormality. It's an abnormality that they couldn't even survive, and yet they're the ones. Because honestly, through training, I was brainwashed. I was taught to believe that you're not perfect. Just get rid of it, start all over again. And as an adult, after probably about, I don't know, 15 years of practice, 10 years of practice, I was exposed to patients who just loved their baby so much. It didn't matter what diagnosis they had. It didn't matter they couldn't live for a long time. But they taught me how to appreciate humanity again. They taught me through their experience. Every time they came in, it didn't matter if the baby had one eye, cyclops, and a major, genetic abnormality that is lethal. Because every time they came in and I was doing their next month's ultrasound, they were so excited. They would bring in the kids to watch the ultrasound. And they're the ones that sent me the letters afterwards and said, we spent 30 minutes with our baby before she passed, or we had 2 hours that was the most precious for our family. And that's how I learned again. I had to deprogram my mind and learn how to love the babies, because this is what God gave us, and he doesn't make mistakes. And there's a reason, and you can't see it when you're in the heat of that turbulent water. You're trying to just tread and survive. You won't see what the purpose for that baby is until it's all calm again. And that's, and time will show you. But if I can get through to somebody through just that few months of prenatal care, to just bring them down, to just try to enjoy the rest of your pregnancy, you will know why you were chosen. I don't know why, but you will know.
Yeah, we live with such expectations, don't we, that our lives are going to be perfect and comfortable. And we've been told our whole lives that you can have it your way. And our way is not the best way. God's way is the best way. And sometimes we know when his will and ours lines up alike from the beginning, it's so easy. And ours, there's an adjustment period, and understanding that and then embracing that is the heart of the journey. Sounds like we're losing the doctor there. Did you have a comment about that, Erin?
Yes, I think, the pregnancy, a short period of time, really, in the great scheme of things. And just the ability to live in the moment and enjoy it is such a huge gift because we have no control over the past. We have no control over the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but just embracing the moment and being able to live out your joy in that moment is just incredible. And that's something that Gianni gives to her patients is, look at all of the wonderful things in this moment that you can be grateful for. And that this appointment, there was a heartbeat. And this appointment, you get to see on the ultrasound screen the baby's adorable hands and feet, and just all of the things. There's always something to look for, to be grateful for. And when you're grateful and not consumed by worry or fear, then you can enjoy the obstacle that's being presented before you, because you don't see it as an obstacle. You see it as a blessing with these wonderful aspects to it.
That perfect love casts out fear, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And it is a training of our minds and hearts, isn't it? And being able to shut off. We'll always have concern. We're human beings, and we're always going to be moms, and so you can't get rid of that. But being able to trust that we're in the arms of our Heavenly Father, who loves us and carefully designs everything for our best in the long run, and nothing can separate us from His love. And living that out step by step is different every day in every person's life. And that really is what it feels like as I hear the two of you talk.
Yes, it is.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Cazan. We so appreciate having you on today. And
my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Celebrate your career and the way you have honored God as you usher all these little children into the world and help their parents embrace them and give them all a much more hopeful, blessed future. We really respect and honor you for all that you have done.
Oh, it's my privilege and it's my honor to be able to have him work through me, because it's not me, it's everything that comes out of my mouth has been developed, and I'm just so thankful. I'm just thankful he's using me to get a message out that is just so needed.
Well, it is a rare day when you meet a brilliant person who is teachable their whole lives. That is so inspiring. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's great. So Erin, as we've talked, both you and your husband are accomplished attorneys. And so that's not exactly a part-time job. You've dealt with cases at the Supreme Court level and stood up for religious and free speech rights in our country at the federal level. And that's an amazing amount of responsibility. And then you had these 5 boys to raise besides. And we talked a little bit on our previous interview about your juggling all of that and balancing everything. It would be kind of fun if we could have a little look into your family back home. So I wonder if our tech crew could turn on a little video.
I'm Emily Elizabeth. Every day I ride to school. I'm my dog Clifford. Clifford is too big to go inside. It's really Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Blessed is our Lord, and these thy gifts we are about to receive. Happy through Christ our Lord, amen. May the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen.
That's so cute.
Oh, they're cute guys.
So did you have a little videographer, one of your boys doing the
Yes,
there?
yes, our 12-year-old. He's much better with technology than I am.
Yeah, that is so cute. I bet he thought that was pretty fun to be the producer here.
Yes, definitely.
That just brought me back. Kids bouncing on the beds and, everything going in 12 directions. And,
Yes.
but you all got around the table there. Is that an important part of your family life?
Absolutely. So every day we have dinner together as a family and we pray before dinner. And it's just really the best time of my day, getting to know, what was the best part of the kids' day? What was the worst part? What are they concerned about? What were their successes? And just being able to pray together is just so important. We pray together in the morning, at night, at dinner, but it's a tradition that we have where we have to sit down and have dinner together.
Yeah, none of us can handle life on our own, can we?
No. And we're not expected to, thank goodness. That's
Yeah, exactly.
God wants us to be in communion, and it's not something that he ever said that we needed to do. And I think
that is such a beautiful example, though, of how, it wasn't you started praying when you started a different journey with Jacob, but you had been praying as a family and continuing to follow God. And in that journey, this was the next chapter. And it was giving it back to him and helping him reshape it in your heart and mind, and his bringing help to you with Dr. Cazan. And then you also had a very special pediatrician, right?
Yes. So this is something that God had designed. I had Jacob at home. We didn't make it to the hospital. And just by chance, the pediatrician on call at the time when we got to the hospital was this man, Dr. Desai, who's just a wonderful pediatrician. And I could tell when he first examined Jacob and he handed him back to me that he was holding back, that he wanted to say something. And he came back the next day to check on Jacob. And he said, I have a son with Down syndrome myself, and I would really love to be Jacob's pediatrician. So that was just lines up so many miracles with Jacob. It's incredible. So he's our pediatrician, and when we go, we can bring our boys with us, and he talks with the boys about what it means to have a brother with Down syndrome. And this summer at one of our checkups with Jacob, he was asking the boys, what does Down syndrome mean to you? And the boys would say, oh, it means that you have 3 of the 21st chromosome, and they're very smart kids.
Yeah.
And he said, Down syndrome is love. And they said, oh yeah, and they love Jacob so much. My oldest son was learning genetics in school, and I guess there's been some sort of advancements where the genetics can be changed. And he was saying, I don't think that if Jacob didn't have Down syndrome that he would be cured. I think that he's cured now. So they see just the value and love. I mean, Jacob is love. He's so special. He is just a way of making everybody feel special. In the morning when I get him from the crib, he smiles, and it's just like the sunshine. He's not one of the least of these. He's one of the most of these. And we're just so blessed that he is part of our family and that we get to hang out with him. This awesome boy.
That is so precious. And that you're, each step of the journey was the opposite of expectation, just like the journey was not expected. And all these different junctures, God does the above and beyond unexpected in answering your new world, right?
Yes.
And I know you had told me before you had all these specialists lined up for delivery and this whole team of doctors, and everything was going to be just so orchestrated. And then, here you are having the baby at home, and the police showing up to help, and then getting, oh my goodness. And out of all of that, God gives you a volunteer pediatrician with the same experience. Just like, oh my goodness, God, it's one miracle after another that keeps assuring you of you were chosen, and Jacob was chosen, and your whole family was chosen for this experience of love and celebration of life.
Absolutely.
Wow, that is just so exciting. Well, it has been wonderful. We could talk all day, Erin, and I appreciate you.
I would love to talk with you all day. You are wonderful, Nancy.
It's so fun, and it's so exciting for people to learn and to get the backstory of what can often be packaged in such an opposite way in our culture. So thank you so much, Erin, for being here today and for sharing your heart and soul with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care. And now we're going to have a little song with a girl dancing called You Said, and that is going to talk about their next amazing journey with Jen.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, you say taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You have every failure, God. You have every victory. Ooh.
Wow. Don't you want to start every morning with that song? Of what we really believe, of what God says about who we are, that we are loved, we are strong, we are held, and we are His. That's such a beautiful message. And that is true of every child that He carefully designs. We are so glad to be here as she leads Michigan with this edition of She Speaks called Made Special. And we are going to talk now to another mom who had a special experience with her daughter, Charlotte. We'll be talking with Jen. And also, they have a little video with Jen and her friend, Karina, another mom. And Jen's daughter, Charlotte, or she calls her Charlie, will be on there. And also Karina's daughter, Karis. So this will be a fun little video to enjoy about them.
Hi, friends. Happy World Down Syndrome Awareness Day.
It's Karis and Charlie.
That's right. And my name is Jen.
And my name's Karina.
And we are here to celebrate this very special day with you.
Karis and Charlie, because I want Karis.
Oh, yes. Karis and Charlie are best friends, and they are so happy that you have decided to celebrate this very special day with us. Today is March 21st. Which is the third month and the 21st day of that third month. And so that's why this day is very special, because it represents the 21st day of the third month. The 21st chromosome is the special one.
That's great.
With 3 pairs. And Charlie, can I tell you about what that means?
What?
We have a special picture that we want to show our friends so they can understand.
Socks.
Yes, that's right. Isn't it funny how in this picture...
That's mine.
It looks like there are pairs of socks, and all of those pairs represent,
That's Karis.
Charlie, all of those pairs represent chromosomes.
It's a prize.
And that's why we wear crazy socks on March 21st, is to represent chromosomes that allow us to see what they look like. Right? Under a
Yeah.
microscope. This one looks a lot like it, huh?
Why don't Karis?
And so looking at that fun picture, if you notice down on the bottom, that 21st set has 3. And so that's what makes our friends with Down syndrome so special, is that they have 3 of those chromosomes.
You and I, we only have 2.
A donut's my favorite.
And Charlie and Karis have 3. And that's what makes them have
The
Down syndrome.
blue.
So friends, what we want to do is we just want to talk about some of the things that make our friends with Down syndrome special. So, hey, you know what? We need your help. Charlie and Karis, can you help us with something?
No. Yes.
Because we want to talk about what makes our
say
friends,
no.
ready? We want to talk about what makes our friends special and different.
Karis.
So friends who are listening in, can you look at your hand? Karis and Charlie, can you look at your hand?
Okay, sure.
Something that makes our friends with Down syndrome unique is that, do you see on your hand how there's 2 lines going across? You can have 2 lines. Well, you know what? Our friends with Down syndrome, when we look at their hand, look at Charlie's hand. She's got 1 line going across. And that's something that makes her unique, is she's got that 1 line going across her hand. Miss Karina, what's something else? What's something else?
They have a big gap between their first and second toe. You want to show yours, Karis? Okay. Let's take these socks off real quick. See that big gap between that first and second toe? It's kind of fun.
Charlie?
Woo! What about you, Charlie? They got a big gap between their first and second toe.
That's so precious to watch the dynamics of the 2 girls and their 2 moms. We're glad to have today Jen with us to talk about her journey. You were trained in elementary ed. Your husband's a pastor, and you were pregnant. And can you tell us a little bit about that story? Yeah.
Yes, our journey is a little different from Erin's because Charlotte is my firstborn. And so this was our very first pregnancy. And much like Erin, we went to the doctor, and about halfway through my pregnancy, during an ultrasound, that's when they began to see marks and the possibility of Down syndrome. And I remember in that ultrasound appointment, the technician telling me, before you leave today, we want you to go across the hallway and we want you to talk to the maternal medicine doctor. And that was all I got, was just walk across the hallway and have another conversation. So with this being my first child, I thought, oh, maybe this is routine.
Right.
We'll just go have more conversations about the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And before I knew it, I was taken into a room and sat at a table across from a doctor. And the first question out of his mouth was, do you know much about Down syndrome? And he opened up a pamphlet and he showed me the picture, just like was shared, the chromosomes and the third copy of the 21st pair. And that was the beginning of a very unexpected turn of events in our family and the future of our family, where we began to journey through, my husband and I, along with our family and a few close friends, the possibility, knowing that it was this looming possibility over the rest of our pregnancy, we could have a child with Down syndrome, and how unexpected, how unprepared, how inadequate we honestly felt to care for a child with special needs. And I could fast forward now, my daughter's 8 years old, and the beginning, which felt so overwhelming and honestly very discouraging in those initial moments, now has been one of the most beautiful pieces of our lives, gifts and blessings to our family, where if we could go back and I could change that day in the doctor's office, if things could have played out differently, I would not change one thing, because our Charlie girl, our Charlie Joy, has been a blessing and a gift. And yes, it's had its challenges. I'm not going to deny that. Mm-hmm. But the beautiful thing that God has done in our family, within our community, connecting to other families, it was mentioned before, a lot of times we can feel alone when we go through challenging times. We can tend to isolate. But just like Erin reached out, with that email asking for friends to stand with her, to pray with her, I have found that it's in these challenging times when we feel like we're alone, it couldn't be farthest from the truth. But when we reach out, we can find other people who maybe their journey is not the same as ours, but they can identify, they can bring encouragement, they can bring life and hope to our situations. And so that's something that I'm aiming to do as a mother of my daughter, Charlotte, is to mother her the best that I can, but also to be an advocate and a voice for families who may be feeling alone and need that encouragement.
Yeah, so you felt overwhelmed. You didn't have any experience this way. It wasn't, again, your expectation. Mm-hmm. And you felt underlying, like, how and what. And so how did you find people?
It's amazing when you begin to, social media has provided an awesome opportunity for us, specifically through Facebook, finding groups within the area of families who are raising children with special needs. And before I knew it, I was joining a group, finding a mentor mom. And when I felt very alone within a matter of moments, I realized that, all it takes is just a little bit of effort on my part. And there are, in fact, amazing families and other mothers journeying that I can connect with and find support with.
Wow, that's awesome. And then you get strength from each other, right?
Absolutely.
That's not where you stopped on reaching out to other people. You also felt called to write something down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. When my daughter was born, and just again, the journey that she has led us on and really taken our faith through, I found that the things that we were learning as parents, I couldn't keep to myself, because at the beginning of the journey, when I would look online and find out about, what is Down syndrome and what does this mean, I often was reading facts that made me feel overwhelmed and discouraged. And as we're parenting Charlie, realizing, the truth of the matter is this isn't a discouraging, hopeless destiny. This is a hope-filled, beautiful journey that lies ahead. And so a few years ago, wrote my first book called Chosen for Charlie, which, Nancy, I love. You've used that word already several times within this segment, chosen. We are chosen. when God gifts you with a special needs child. And it was just in my heart to equip and encourage and speak life into parents. And this has been an awesome tool for many families who are at the beginning of their journey, or really even well into their journey, that they just need that perspective shift. Just as you've said, this isn't something where, oh, now I have this burden, or I'm unfortunate to be in this position. No, I'm in fact very gifted, and I'm chosen for this. And just the encouragement that we want to bring to families through this message of being chosen.
So where did you get that idea of chosen for Charlie?
This wasn't something that came from myself. This was something where when we had received that phone call from the doctor and that initial diagnosis, my heart just turned in that moment of being overwhelmed. My heart turned to the Lord. And as a woman of faith, as a Christian, I have found that in these times where I feel overwhelmed in life, the one place that I can turn to is always to the Lord. And so just honestly, in a time of prayer, just asking God, what is going on? I think it's okay that we ask those questions. Yes. Why me? Why is this going on?
Yeah.
And in this just honesty and heartfelt prayer before the Lord, that was when this word chosen dropped into my heart. And it was this shift of perspective change where I get to parent this child. Out of all the families that could have been gifted with Charlotte, we get her. And I have been chosen for her. She has been chosen for me. And this was just a catalyst moment for me where I just took hold of that word, my husband and I, and we just realized, okay, we can do this. Yes, it's going to be challenging. But at the end of the day, we know that we're chosen for this child. And that word came from the Lord, struck us straight to the heart. And it's been a word that has just been bringing strength to our family in this journey so far.
That is so beautiful, that each child is fearfully and wonderfully made and designed. But God doesn't stop with the child, does he? He has
Absolutely.
a placement for that child. And those parents were fearfully and wonderfully made, intending to be the parents of that special child as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every single one of our children, the Lord says that they're a blessing. And there's no specifics that come with that. Just receive them as the gift that they are, the blessing that they are, and embrace it. I think the sooner that our hearts can embrace and accept what we've been given, the more we can just move on our journey in life and see through a better lens of, I'm gifted with this child. I'm chosen for this child.
Absolutely. And we want to finish with a celebration of rocking your socks with you and Charlotte. That'll be so special. Thank you so much, Jen, for inspiring us all to celebrate God's perfect way, because we are chosen for his special plan in our lives. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you, Nancy.
Have a book. I carries a book. Why?
Oh, you guys like to read when you guys are together?
Yeah. Because I can play sick game, Google game to play with.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of fun stuff when you guys are together, don't
and Barbies.
You guys play with Barbies.
It's a guitar so big for our kids with guitar girls. Because I have a Barbie. You're funny.
Well, friends, we've had so much fun sharing with you just some of the differences of our friends with Down syndrome. They like to be silly. Look at those silly faces. And some of the things that are the same. And really, friends, what we want to do is we want to celebrate and have fun with you today. We hope this made you smile. We hope it made you laugh. And we want you to know that everyone is special. And when the things that make us different, are the things that make us special and bring joy, right? So can we say Happy World Down Syndrome Awareness Day?
Happy today's fake yo-yo.
Thanks for celebrating with us.
Mom, I will do a camera.
Good job.
Don't forget,
I will do it in a camera.
Say rock your socks.
Rock our socks.
Rock your socks.
1, 2, 3. Rock your socks.